The people you elect to represent you at the State House aren't just working for you, the voter. Most of them have other jobs in all kinds of different industries across the state. And as we explore tonight in a special report, that can sometimes lead to questions about political influence and potential conflicts of interest. Some of those potential conflicts get a lot of scrutiny, others don't. Other situations just put lawmakers in a tough position. But does it cross the line? Well, it depends on who you ask. Your elected representatives at the State House aren't just working for you. Many of them have other jobs, too.
Indiana has a part-time legislature. The members don't do it as a full-time job. They've got other employment back home.
And Julia Vaughn with Common Cause Indiana says that can lead to some issues.
The problem with that is that conflicts of interest happen.
What kinds of conflicts? Vaughn points to a bill passed last year dealing with our state's wetlands, changing the permitting requirements for builders and developers. The bill's authors, Senators Chris Garton, Mark Messmer, and Linda Rogers, are all connected to the industry.
That was an issue where many of us said, hey, it just doesn't look right when the people pushing this major change in the law are going to benefit financially.
In a statement to the Star last year, Rogers says her experience in the building industry didn't play a role in her decision-making on the issue. It's far from the only example. State Senator Chip Perfect owns Perfect North Ski Slopes in southern Indiana, which employs hundreds of teenagers. In 2019, the senator proposed a measure to remove work permit and hours restrictions for 16 and 17-year-olds. State Rep Greg Porter is ranking Democratic member of the House Ways and Means Committee, which allocates funding in the state budget. And he's also a senior VP at the Health and Hospital Corporation of Marion County, which is currently taking a case to the Supreme Court that the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus wants them to drop. Porter's a member of that group and couldn't comment on the lawsuit because of his job with HHC. Even House Speaker Todd Huston found himself caught between his public and private roles. Last year, he had a six-figure job with the College Board, the national group that administers the SATs and advanced placement courses in high schools. In the midst of a curriculum debate last year, activists called on the College Board to fire Huston. Days later, he stepped down.
It was just the right time.
Huston's counterpart in the Senate, Rod Bray, told us recently he sees no issue with the way the legislature operates.
The value and the importance of being a part-time legislature. I'm a big proponent of that and will continue to be. People bring their expertise and their knowledge here and help craft good legislation.
And with or without controversy, other lawmakers are also publicly visible in multiple roles. Like Mitch Gore, a state lawmaker representing the southeast side of Indy.
That can make a huge impact.
Here he is at a press conference on gas prices earlier this year.
911 should be used.
And here he is in his other role as a Marion County Sheriff's deputy.
Some do a good job of self-regulating, others not so much.
So it's essentially up to the individual lawmaker.
It is.
We have an ethics committee so that if somebody is going to financially benefit from a law that they are authoring, sponsoring, or just going to be voting on, they take that in front of the ethics committee. But you're going to have some of those conflicts every year because people engage in this business, and when you're in the General Assembly, you deal with every facet of Indiana's business, and so some of those conflicts are just going to come up.
The tendency is to hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Vaughn points to recent controversies like the one involving former state rep Eric Turner, who faced scrutiny for his connections to the nursing home industry. Now she wants tougher standards at the State House and an ethics commission that includes regular citizens.
Campaign finance records.
Bill Moreau founded a group called the Indiana Citizen to try and give you more information about your government.
We think it starts with having the information readily accessible to voters.
On their website, you can find info about your elected officials at the State House and their professional backgrounds.
Voters should know what's motivating their state representative or senator to vote in a certain way.
Porter's office sent us a statement saying in part Representative Porter has and continues to abide by and practice the recusal process, as do many of his Indiana General Assembly colleagues. More statements as they come in on our website at fox59.com.